comes the Calvary. Here comes the Calvary. Here comes the Calvary. Here comes the Calvary.
Calvary.
An open-air representation of the crucifixion of Jesus.
Cavalry.
An army component moving in motor vehicles or helicopters and assigned to combat missions that require great mobility.
Calvary. Cavalry.
Here comes the Calvary.
Cavalry.
Here comes the Calvary.
Cavalry. Cavalry.
Here comes the Calvary.
The people selling thoughtlessness with such casualty.
Casualty doesn't mean that, does it? I mean, casualty is like a guy gets his arm blown off, right? I mean, isn't that like...
That's a type of casualty.
What?
Here comes the Calvary.
Cavalry.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say casualness.
No, casualty. You smartass for pointing that out.
Just...
Next topic.
Phantom Fury is finally here. I've been looking forward to it since that initial trailer. And if this were a sponsored video, as I've done for 3D Realms published games in the past, I would have to say no, because I cannot recommend this game to anyone. Not for fans of Ion Fury, and not for fans of first-person shooters. This game was not made by the people who made Ion Fury, and it shows. Not just because it's different visually and even in the kind of FPS that it is, but because of the drop in quality and cohesive vision. It drags, it's frustrating, and it's unfinished and buggy. It feels like they bit off way more than they could chew here, trying to make their game into too many things at once. Instead of just focusing on a good action experience with fun enemy types and interesting levels, we have to play a level that wants to be Halo, but can't hold a candle to what Halo was able to capture over 20 years ago. We have to go through an entire level of walking around in the dark looking for power cores, trying to find a way out of a building with no map to show you where you've already been. We have to sit through an excruciating, scripted, on-the-rails helicopter section where we just shoot at an endless number of other helicopters with missiles I swear are impossible to aim correctly. We have to interrupt the action to stand around staring at a puzzle with no idea what the goal is. I mean, I'm supposed to raise a car with a crane so I can use it to jump on top of a bus, but I already tried to jump on top of a bus from another angle and it wouldn't let me, so how am I supposed to know that's the solution? All this precious development time spent on the unnecessary, when it should have gone towards improving what they've actually done well. Phantom Fury is a textbook case of overextension, and I'm curious where these decisions came from, because it feels like it's just a bunch of random ideas mashed together. I do want to praise it for what it gets right though. There are some good fights. While the AI is not impressive, they are assholes that keep you on your toes. Soldiers zip around like maniacs, becoming hard to target. The big crusher dudes are cheap and stupid, but them being so dangerous puts a lot of pressure on you to keep them away and prioritize them, and that can be fun. You'll probably feel like the enemies are simply too far away to be using the pistol without some kind of zoom, but the bowling bombs make up for it because they go far and seek out enemies. It's pretty fun throwing these bombs into the distance and blowing up all the pricks hiding behind cover. The game does need some kind of zooming option though, which you do eventually get hours into the campaign once you find the ion bow, far too late if you ask me. I actually love a lot of the combat options here. You've got a recharging punch attack that flies forward, the classic Loverboy 6-shooter is back with the ability to do lock-on headshots, very fun. You've got dual-wielding SMGs that light enemies on fire, the shotgun gets a flashlight ability that blinds nearby enemies, shutting down big threats, and making for great synergy with the bowling bomb.
Flanker!
My favorite alt-fire mode was the starting pistol's taser attachment. This thing is so damn fun to use. All the alt-fires are based on charges, not actually using ammo. It's an interesting way to do things, and it works. But this brings me to the worst bug I encountered in my playthrough. Phantom Fury will erase your weapon upgrades randomly. After a couple levels, the taser just stopped working. The charge meter was gone. And even though I later confirmed that I still had the upgrade purchased, I couldn't use it. It never came back. I even reloaded old saves to try to recover it, but the deletion applied retroactively. It's gone. Unless I start the game over, but fuck that. Fellow YouTuber G-Man Lives and I were playing this at the same time, and he told me that he had 2 weapons permanently lose their alt fires, so this is probably going to happen to a lot of people. Right before finishing this video, I figured out that if you select a weapon and press M to open the mod description, that magically makes the disappeared alt-fire come back. So now that I'm near the end of the game, after playing hours without my taser mod, I can finally use it. Hooray. I told G-Man about this and he said it fixed his mods too, so good news I guess. My dual SMG alt-fire would randomly not come out. Sometimes I had to hit reload before it would work. Sometimes I had to shoot once before it would come out. Sometimes switching to the SMG would already have the dual wielding out, fully loaded, but it wouldn't fire. And I would have to reload again, which doubled the ammo capacity in another weird bug, and then I could fire. This game's fucking broken, dude. Picking up the foam launcher caused my assault rifle alt-fire mode to stop working. Sometimes guns just won't reload. Sometimes the AI just stands there staring at you. What is this, Devil May Cry 2? This elevator made me fall to my death several times. Touching boxes and other pieces of geometry will sometimes send you flying off at crazy speeds. One time it flung me completely out of the map. And it sucks because I want to be here complimenting the game for the little smart design choices I appreciate, like putting you in front of a nearly unkillable turret so you find the fuse box and destroy it to shut the turret down, which then leads you to be able to recognize the fuse box in the train yard that lets you through the gate after shooting it. Stuff like that I notice and appreciate. I want to be talking about the fun moments of quick decision making during combat that had me using all sorts of weapons to stay alive. I want to mention the occasional puzzle elements that I actually liked, the ones that would make the world feel like a real place. I want to talk about how much I kinda enjoyed this one boss fight, and how a good amount of the combat in the first few levels had me feeling pretty good. But anytime I seem to be enjoying something in Phantom Fury, the game has to slap me back to reality with some bewildering choice or crazy bug.
What?
Around halfway through the game, the level design just becomes annoying. If you're not going to have a map, don't make your levels into mazes. And if you're going to put more than one weapon on a weapon slot, maybe actually have the buttons switch between them. You guys aren't going to believe how this works. I'll do my best to explain. So we have two weapons on the machine gun slot, weapon key 4. Pressing 4 will bring up the assault rifle, but it also brings up the menu for this weapon category. You can use the mouse wheel to scroll down to the SMG, pressing fire to select it. But you can also go to the SMG by simply pressing 4 again. However, if you're already on the assault rifle, you would think that pressing 4 would just go to the SMG, the next weapon in the list. It doesn't. It only brings up the menu for you to then scroll down, or you would have to press 4 again to go to the SMG. This is how weapon selection works in Half-Life. You pull up the weapon menu and then select what you want. But what's totally fucked up about Phantom Fury is that even though pressing the weapon key does not automatically equip the next weapon in the list, if you're on the SMG and then you press the weapon key once to open the menu, it returns to the assault rifle. It equips it in your hand. Opening the weapon menu for any category, even if you're already holding something from that category, will cause you to suddenly have weapon 1 in your hand. And it gets much worse. There are 4 different weapons that go into this slot. 4. Way too many to practically switch to the one you want during combat. If you have weapon 3 open, which is the ion bow, pressing the weapon key will not go to weapon 4, it will instead put weapon 1 in your hands. What the fuck? Look, you either need to make the single press of a weapon key cycle to the next weapon in the list, or, like in Half-Life, just open the menu, not equip you with weapon 1 and open the menu. Do you know how many times I pulled out the wrong weapon, panicking as I seemed to be unable to control what I was choosing? Oh shit, I need the bow. Press 4 to go to the next weapon. No, wait, that put the assault rifle back in my hands. Okay, press it 3 times because that goes to the 3rd weapon. No, that went to the 4th weapon because I already had the menu open. Ah! The only way to have direct control over the weapon you want is to use the mouse wheel, which I hate. I never use the mouse wheel for weapon selection because it's so easy to be imprecise and scroll past what you want in the heat of combat. So I gotta carefully roll the wheel up 1 notch and then press fire to select the gun I want from the category. I hate this. Do you see how counterintuitive it is to be on weapon 2 and then press the weapon key expecting it to go to weapon 3, but it instead equips weapon 1? But all this has me asking, and if the devs are listening, I genuinely want to know because maybe I'm missing something. What is the point of having the weapon key bring up the weapon selection menu if scrolling the mouse wheel already cycles through the menu without having to bring it up first with the weapon key? Just make the weapon key go directly to the next weapon in the list, not go back to weapon 1 and open a menu that the weapon wheel would have opened anyway. There's literally no point to just opening the menu with the weapon key. It's a useless function. It's not like you can open the menu and then quickly select a specific weapon from the list. You still have to scroll with the mouse or additional presses of the weapon key. So why does the weapon key behave like this? It's insane. The amount of confusion this creates is monumental. It eventually became overwhelming to me, dealing with this insane weapon system, suffering through the long, tedious late-game levels, and fighting the same stupid enemies over and over and over. Their idea of adding enemy variety is to introduce a bunch of annoying, toxic spitting dudes and worms on the ground that spit at you. It's so bad. I got to a level where I was running around this facility trying to find explosives to take down 3 shield generators, and it kept throwing all these stupid drones at me like I hadn't seen them a million times already. I couldn't find the second explosive, there's no map, so I'm disoriented, and I said, that's enough. I've seen enough. The more I play, the more I hate this game, and it wasn't like that at first. The first 3 to 4 hours, I was thinking, hey, this isn't perfect, it needs some bug fixes, but I'm enjoying the combat and the weapon fire modes are cool, I'm gonna recommend this. Unfortunately, as the game goes on, it just gets worse, and I don't think anyone is gonna particularly like this game. My apologies to the people who worked hard on it, you did your best, but it feels like there was a real lack of leadership here that resulted in a mess. Goodbye.